So we're gonna come down into our first stretch here. Now this is where I have my yoga blocks. Like I said, you might not need yoga blocks. You might want something a little bit smaller. For some people, doing this on the ground might be enough. So meet me laying on your belly. Have your stick handy just in case you need it, and I'll show you. You can actually play around with 2 different options and see which one you prefer. All right, so once you're laying on your belly here, you can use your blocks to prop your elbows up, and then you can fold your elbows in and place them behind your neck like this, or behind your head. Now you'll notice I've got mine out on a bit of an angle. You can also play with bringing it in a little bit more, or having your elbows a little bit closer together. Again, I'm not gonna move my blocks just so I don't blow you guys out on the mic, but you can play with the placement of that as needed. Now, in this first setup, you can also see how my hands are directly together on my head. We can also take our stick and we can bring that in, and you can actually use the stick to keep your hands a little bit further apart if you want to. So I do want you in full elbow flexion here, and I do want you in shoulder flexion as well. And then we'll kind of capture a stretch in our triceps and any other tissues in that area that may be tight for you. So like I said, I'm going to use my ball here just to give my mouth some space. I cannot talk today. Give my mouth some space between it and the ground. And then I want you to find whichever stretch felt best for you. So stick or no stick. Honestly, I actually prefer this today for me without the stick. So I'm going to leave that stick down and out of this, and I'm just going to fold my hands together. I'm going to narrow my blocks up just a touch. And I'm going to place my hands behind my head because this is what feels best for me today. So like I said, you do whatever feels best for you, whatever gives you your best stretch. And we're just going to hang out here. We're going to stretch for a little bit to start. And while we hang out and stretch here, I'm going to talk you guys through what our pails will look like. Because this is a recovery focused class today, we won't be doing rails. We're just going to be doing a slow ramp up for pails, and then a slow ramp down, and then we're going to come back to our kind of front and back focused elbow cars to try and hit this tissue while we're doing our elbow cars. So what we're going to do when we do our pails contraction is your elbows will either be resting on your blocks, on your objects, or on the ground. You're going to think about slowly driving your elbows down into the ground as if you're trying to bring your elbow kind of back down towards your hip. Of course, you're not going to move at all because the ground or your object will be blocking you. Now just make sure that it's a very slow ramp up and a very slow ramp down when we do it. So I usually recommend that you guys hang out here for a few minutes, especially in these recovery focused classes. So please feel free to hit pause and bank some extra time here, because I also know that you guys enjoy short classes. I'm going to jump into it right now. But like I said, if you want to bank a little more time, now would be a good time to hit pause, come do your 2-minute stretch, and then you can join back in for the pails. Now we're going to very slowly, very gently think about pressing your arms down into your blocks or into your objects or into the ground. Just like 10% to start. Work your way up to 20%. Nothing moves at all. Find 30%. Make sure you're still breathing. We never want to hold our breath in these recovery classes. If you want to climb a little higher to 40%, you can. 50%, but I would not go higher than 60% for today's class, and we're just going to hold this. Nice, consistent effort. You might feel that stretch in your tricep. You might feel it down kind of into your armpit area a little bit more, or alongside your rib cage. Again, you'll feel it wherever it's tightest for you, and that'll also change depending on the angle you have yourself set up at, whether that is elbows closer together, elbows a little further apart, or if you've got space between your hands, or if your hands are over top of your head like mine. We're going to keep holding this, and when we relax, it won't be a quick relax. It's going to be a nice slow lower, or a nice slow ramp down. Hold this for a little while longer here. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give me a nice slow ramp down. Now, if you're really happy with the stretch that you're in right now, you can stay there. For me, for this next one, I'm actually going to grab my stick. I'm going to bring my stick in, and now I'm going to do one round here. So with this one, you can also play with how much elbow bend you have. I'm going to go pretty full elbow bend here. Capture a little bit more of that tissue. And we're going to do a second round here. Because we've already done our full stretch at the start, We're not going to do another passive stretch. We're just going to slowly start to ramp back up whenever you're ready. Nice slow increase again, so 10% to start. Climb your way up to 20%. 30, if you want to stay there, you can. If you want to keep climbing, give me 40, 50. I would not go higher than 60. Again, the whole time you're holding this, just check in with yourself. Make sure you've got nice, slow breaths the entire time. Bonus points if you're nasal breathing the entire time as well. Sometimes in these classes, we want you working really hard. We want the intensity high, and therefore we don't really care if we're doing some mouth breathing, but in this class, again, we're more recovery focused, so we're going to try to stick a little bit more to nasal breathing and keep you in more of a recovery state or a rest and digest state for your nervous system. Now again, when I say so, we're going to have a nice slow ramp down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly let that contraction out. Let your arms melt back into your blocks, into your objects. You can place your stick back down and meet me back up in kneeling.